to another Wheelchair Wednesday here at the Wheelhouse. Special edition today. It's our 50th episode. How about that? 50 of them. We got a special guest today coming to us. Didn't get the state, but we'll get to that. She's an Army veteran. She's got tons to talk about. We're going to get to her right in a second. But before we do that, you guys know the deal. Let's go ahead and hit the intro. Welcome to Wheelchair Wednesday. All right, y'all, without further ado, let's give it up to Sheri Wills.
Hello.
Hi, Sheri. How you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Doing pretty good. Give me 1 second. I'm not sure why my camera's not showing up. Like I said, we always got something going on, and there we go. But so far, everything's worked out pretty good. We got you on here. I'm going to turn your volume down a tad, so I'm not picking you up in the background. But besides that, there we go. So it's a Valentine's Day here for Wheelchair Wednesday. How's your Valentine's Day going? It's
going great. Great. It's going great. Like I was telling you earlier, I dropped off a little puppy that I got. Started to this little service dog. She's a red Doberman puppy. I dropped her off at like her board and train puppy. This will be her first step towards getting her trained, and hopefully she works out. If not, then at least I'll end up with a good trained dog. So some of them, of course, don't work out to be, service dogs. Some of them actually work out to be hospital service dogs.
Right. So. Right. And you said, what's that? That's a what type of dog?
A Doberman.
Doberman Pinscher. Okay.
Yep. Yep.
Nice.
She's a cute little 5-year-old red male Doberman. Super freaking smart. Heck
yeah. Well, have you ever seen these before, these episodes?
I've only seen, I think, one or two, to be perfectly honest.
That's fine. So. That's fine. So really what we're going to do is I have this handy list, note cards here. There's 10 questions on it. We have not changed the questions in 50 episodes. Okay. Amazingly. We have added a couple of them. But pretty much we're going to run through these. You're going to give the best answers as you can as to, how you would see these in your lifestyle. Okay. Because everybody's different. Spinal cord injuries are pretty new to the medical field, and everybody has a different story every time we talk to them. So to start off this episode, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself, tell people who you are, where you're from, and how your accident happened.
I'm Sheri Wills. I'm from Twin Falls, Idaho. Well, more in the rural county or in Buell, Idaho. It's a little town off of Twin Falls, but they're in southern Idaho. And how I came to get my spinal cord injury, it was actually it was my third stroke, but it was actually a spinal stroke where my second stroke, how usually a stroke affects either your left or your right side. Yeah. The third stroke actually affected my lower half from I think a T9 down. That was my third. It was crazy because I was actually working. I, got out of the military as a medic and then, as a recruiter as well. And I was working at the VA in the emergency room as an immediate care technician. It's a new job that they actually created for prior service Army medics and Navy corpsmen, because they know that we know do IVs and, draw blood and do EKGs and stuff. And we actually, the nurses actually came to us to actually, if they, missed a patient on a stick a few times and needed us to go and start an IV on them. And it was a great job. And just on my day off one day, I was just sitting at the edge of my bed, texting my then boyfriend. We were supposed to go to breakfast, and he said, "Okay, I'm in the parking lot, ready whenever you are." And I was like, "Okay, I'm on my way down." And I just never showed up. They later found me. I guess I was, laying on the bed and stuff, and I guess kind of an awkward way. And they didn't know if I was breathing or not, so he moved me to the floor. And I guess that movement of, the blood flow exchange, it stimulated like a cardiac arrest.
Wow.
And they were between him and he was a Marine veteran, and he was also a police officer in California for I think nine years after he got out of the Marines. But he knew how to do CPR, and he knew how to react in an emergency situation. So he got me on the ground, and then noticed that I wasn't breathing, and then that my heart wasn't beating, and so he started CPR. Uh, Told one of the guys that was with him to, of course, call 911. Thank goodness I live literally 2 minutes away from the VA ER in Salt
Wow.
Lake City. Um,
Right.
but so, and yeah, everything just kind of happened for a reason. Like the paramedics and stuff, they were outside in a clean, ready to go ambulance. They were literally opening the doors to get in their ambulance and go when they got the call. So, but yeah, I was pretty much dead for 10 minutes. Had like a kind of a little bit of a near death experience and stuff. Um,
It's
but
crazy how it works out like that, isn't it? How everything just kind of
yeah,
aligns up.
yeah, and then yeah, when I came to, I was in the ICU, and it's like I already knew that I was paralyzed from the waist down, so I never had that. I don't know if it's true. When you wake up and you're like, oh my gosh, I can't feel my legs. I never had that because it's like I for some reason I knew that I was paralyzed, and I was more wondering like, why does my chest hurt and why does my throat hurt? And they said, well, your chest hurts because your sternum is broken because they had to do CPR on you,
Oh
and then
gosh.
my throat hurt because they had to intubate me and stuff. And it's crazy because I was spent 3 months in the hospital. It was during COVID, so no visitors were allowed. So imagine going from dying for 10 minutes and waking up paralyzed and doing pretty much everything, spending 3 months in, intense physical rehabilitation and stuff. And then being able to finally see people, but people don't know what you've been through and stuff. And that, that was definitely hard, but I made, we made the most of it, the staff
Right.
and the nurses, they flew me to the Denver VA. The Denver VA and the Salt Lake City VA is great. The Denver VA is great. Boise VA sucks. But the Denver VA, they were great. We spent Christmas and stuff in the hospital by ourselves. Only being able to talk to people through FaceTime or whatever. But like I was the only female patient at the time, but the head nurse, him and his wife went Christmas shopping for everybody. And instead of, I expected just to get like when they, you know, passed out gifts, I just expected to get just like a generic bag and stuff. But she actually took the time to buy female stuff, like female, like socks and, like pink colored socks and,
Right.
like sweats and stuff like that, actually made a difference that, it's like, hey, this person actually put some thought into it. So,
Right.
they were
Well, let
great.
me ask
And,
you this.
uh-huh.
This next question, it kind of can go either way. It's would you walk if you could? And by that, I know your injury was a little different than most. A lot of times you hear about somebody jumping in a pool or getting in a car accident or something like that.
Yeah.
If you could go back to that day and somehow change everything to where that wouldn't have happened to you and you could have went on your life the way it was, would you choose to do that or would you choose to stay where you're at now and why?
I would think, everybody would love to walk. Well, heck, I think just the bowel and the bladder control would be perfect. I'd be happy with just that. But anyways, I think I'm here where I'm supposed to be. Um, and I'm kind of a fighter, I guess. So I've actually helped change a few of the VA policies that were BS, especially like during COVID, like not letting the service dog down the spinal cord wing. It's like why, and I wrote a 3-page letter connecting the dots on why, for mental health, for physical, for health, and for, it's we're gonna get if we're gonna get COVID from this particular dog, we're gonna get it from, this and this nurse, and it was a huge thing. But we finally, got the dog to be able to come down the spinal cord wing. I mean, just little things like that. But I'm I'm definitely, and I made sure that the VA, that I was compensated and stuff for not, anything that I didn't earn or didn't deserve. But I spent over 19 years in, you know, see, 19 years, 4 months, and 8 days in for
What's
active
that? Since
duty.
you've been paralyzed?
What's that?
What 19 years for what?
For being in the army.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, army medic and
Well, let me say
also.
thank you for your service, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you for that. We appreciate that over here on this side.
Yeah, but yeah, I make sure that they compensate me well. So I actually don't have to worry about bills and stuff, which is very nice. And I've got the housing grant, which I'm having a hard time just trying to find a contractor that can work with the VA housing, with a grant, and and they can
Oh,
work
I'm
with the
sure. Yeah,
VA.
I'm sure it can be tough.
But I've got the vehicle grant. I got a 2023 Chevy Traverse with the Bronability package.
Nice.
It's really nice. Um, but yeah, I just make sure that they're held accountable for, not only myself but to help other veterans. Because if I'm having to deal with this BS, I wouldn't say a Karen, but they almost kind of make you be a Karen just to get good medical care sometimes.
Right.
Um, but yeah, I've definitely helped facilitate getting some of the dumb VA rules that they had especially during COVID. So supposed to be
Right.
me being.
Understandable.
What was that?
I said that's understandable.
Yeah.
I know that a lot of people, they fight to try to get any kind of help. You know what I mean, for care. So I mean,
Yeah.
anything that can help you ease the burden of expenses. That I mean, we know that being in a wheelchair is expensive. I mean, you got to have stuff for you every single day, ready for you, and all it takes is one day to not have that stuff, and you're in the hospital again. You know what I mean?
And
So
can't take no for an answer sometimes with the VA, like those medication dispenser cubes that you see advertised. If you've got like over so many medications, it really is very helpful. But we had to go through 4 people telling us no to finally get some, and we had to again write the pretty much like a justification letter, and a bunch of facts and stuff in there, and finally got somebody to say yes. But yeah, it's like you got to keep fighting sometimes.
well, let me ask this in the spirit of Valentine's Day. The next question, number 3 here, is dating/married. How's that going for you? What's that like?
I am actually very happily single. Like, I've been married 3 times. It just, I'm kind of set in my ways. I think I'm. It's just nice to not have to wake up and and kind of walk on eggshells, or there's no drama, there's no nothing. And actually, when I was discharged from the Denver VA, actually decided to live in Denver, or not in but near Denver for the next year, so I could learn to live completely independent. So yeah, much I live all by myself. So
Nice. Well, I
um,
mean, yeah, like a lot of people say, like that can go either way for a lot of different people.
yeah,
Some people, like myself, were lucky enough to be with somebody while it
yeah,
happened, and then they actually stuck around. You know what I mean?
yeah,
But I've heard time and time and time and time again where somebody's with somebody, the accident happens, they freak out and move on.
yeah,
But then again, I've also heard stories of people who get in an accident and they find it easier to find a love, like
yeah.
somebody that loves them. So I mean, it's weird. I think there's somebody out there for everybody. I just think either you, like you said, you want to be with them, or you know what I mean. Sometimes it's easier being alone.
Yeah, it is. And and I'm probably not the easiest person to live with either. Like I said, I'm medically retired out of the military with over 19 years in as a master sergeant. And so I just
Master Sergeant.
I'm a little hard to deal with sometimes. So
So you
so I
were, and this is kind of off topic, but you just said Master Sergeant. So I know that is like up, 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 up in the echelons of, you know what I
yeah,
mean, like the ranking system of the
yeah.
United States Army.
Top is an E9 and I was an E8.
So you had people underneath you, right, that
Yeah.
you would be pretty much in charge of, that they would come to you and you would pretty much tell them what they needed to do and all that stuff.
Yep. Yep.
Awesome.
In fact, I
Awesome.
ran an recruit sustainment program company by myself, while everybody else in the state that in their areas, you had northern Idaho, you had southern Idaho, you had eastern Idaho, and then western Idaho. And I was the only one in the state that they weren't even going to give me an assistant. I pretty much did it all by myself. Everybody else either had at least an assistant, if not two people running it, plus an assistant. And it was funny because when the numbers finally came out for the end of year stuff, I actually won the RSP of the Year award. So, and it was very funny because
Wow.
the commander and stuff, he was one of the ones that and by the way, this affected like over 70 people by the time it was all said and done. And we had 6 people relieved of their command, 2 first sergeants, 2 command sergeant majors, and 2 lieutenant colonels. Um, but yeah, where I ran the entire RSP company by myself, and as a single mom as well, I was used to kind of multitasking and stuff, and so they thought that putting all this pressure on me and stuff, I was going to collapse, but they didn't know that I actually work best under pressure. So I pretty much outdid them and stuff. Like I do casualty simulation makeup, like you would not believe, and so setting up things like realistic things like that in medical tasks, people tend to should pick up on the actual training a lot better than just sitting and reading it out of a book, or listening to a boring PowerPoint and stuff. So I actually
Right.
set up things as realistic as possible, having, paintball guns shot at them and stuff while they're, going out trying to, rescue a casualty and stuff. And, just as realistic as possible. I had like, I could do leg amputations where the leg actually spurts blood. Um, you can put a tourniquet on him, not really tighten it, but put a tourniquet on him, put him or her on the litter, and they're like, "Where's their actual leg?" And but yeah, I'm
So what you're saying is you're a
not,
little bit of a badass.
but yes, I'm that good at casualty
you,
sim.
you're the type of person somebody would like to have next to him while going into battle. That's what I would say.
Yes, yes, exactly. And it's funny because a lot of my friends tell me, even though you're in a wheelchair, they're like, "I still would love to have you as a zombie apocalypse partner." And stuff
Right.
because yeah, they can see me like with my strapped with my Doberman, and she's all pretty much guiding my wheelchair while I got my M4 or whatever shooting. But yeah,
Nice.
but I like to live by myself, and I like to make sure that I'm not taken advantage of, and that people aren't gonna come into my house, and they come
You
busting
know,
in my house.
I was gonna say, just in
I mean,
case all the wheelchair people are
yeah,
watching out there, all of the old vets and stuff. End of the world ever comes, meetup place is at the Wheelhouse here in Michigan. You get a hold of me, we'll make a perimeter. You know what I mean? We're up on a hill, we got good line of sights, tons of zombie
okay,
defenses. I'm telling you. That's something a lot of my friends always say. They're like, "Man, but now you're in a wheelchair. What are you gonna do?" I'm like, "You can still do a ton of stuff from a wheelchair. Don't count
yeah,
us out." You know what I mean?
oh yeah.
Let's see. Next question I got for you is pet peeves. What's your biggest pet peeve about being in a chair?
Biggest pet peeve about being in a chair is finding parking. You see, like there's certain states, I guess, that you have to actually have a van accessible sticker to
Yep.
actually be able to park in the van accessible spots. You know, um, but you see all these people that they're at least able-bodied. Yes, they might be handicapped, but at least like park in the handicapped spots a few spots down. Leave the ones for us, that actually need that ramp space. Um,
Yeah.
and people that park in that the vertical lines and stuff, and then you got to sit there and wait for them, and yeah,
Another thing I'll
that's
say
another
too
pet.
to add to that, that I've actually started doing, and I've seen another guy from Wheel Life, I think it is, or there's another guy that does videos. Um, I'll think of it eventually. But what he does, he made a video where he actually shows how he parks diagonal. He'll go and take up 2 spots so his ramp can
Yeah,
get out. You know what I mean, and nobody can block him. I'm a pure advocate for that because normally, like you said, all the spots are taken, and it's like, what are we
yeah,
supposed to do? You know what I mean? So,
yeah.
uh,
Or people are motorcycle there and stuff, thinking that that's, oh, well, it's small. Well, it's still blocking my way. I still can't
Right.
get in and out of my, you
Yep.
know. I had a lady that parked there at the grocery store one time. She literally parked on the, the loading and unloading lane, thinking that it was a parking spot. And, I was getting a picture of her license plate so I could at least go back in the grocery store to have them at least page her,
Right.
Um, and she comes out and she got all mad at me because I was taking a picture of her. And I was like, look, I could at least be on the phone with, getting your vehicle towed, but I'm not, I tried to explain to her what was going on. And she kind of actually got in my face and shoved me in my
Oh,
little,
heck
she's
no.
eight, shoved me in my, and so I, yeah, I grabbed the scruff of her shirt, pulled her in, and she, as I was, balling up my fist, and she pulled up and noped the hell on out of there. She just got in her car. But I told her, because she was like, well, I'm handicapped too. Well, that still doesn't mean that I can actually get back in my vehicle. Then you
Right.
should know. So other handicapped people that are also inconsiderate of people that need those spaces.
Right.
So
Yeah, and being a handicapped person, it's always when you're looking around and you see people that pull into handicapped spots and they get out of their car and they walk into the store and they get back in there. And it's like, dude, come on, how handicapped are you, bro? Like, what are you
yeah,
doing? You know what I mean? Some people are
yeah,
just in it to take the benefits and that's it. Um,
yeah.
well, let me ask you this. My next question I got is, what is something that you wish you could do now that you can no longer do?
Ride horses. So I do know that there is a handicap barrel, a paralyzed barrel racer. I don't know if you heard of her, Amberly Snyder.
Mm-mm.
She's out of Utah. Yeah, she's actually a professional barrel racer, but she's paralyzed. I think she's T. Um, I'm just gonna guess here and say about T9 or
I was
T
gonna say
maybe
she
T.
must have a little bit of ab control.
But yeah, but and she also has a modified barrel saddle as well. She's where she got is modified like these seat belts, and kind of got the higher back seat as well to kind of strap herself in, and then she straps her thighs in, and then she does what most barrel racers do. They'll rubber band their foot in the stirrups.
She
But
must
yeah,
trust that horse a lot.
she does really, really good. And the horse and stuff that she started out, his name's Power. He's this big black horse. I mean, he's got a lot of power. Just looks super muscular, but he's super gentle and stuff. And animals, no,
They can sense it.
that's
I
what.
think they can sense it. Yeah, like that you're
Yeah,
injured and you're not all the way there. You know what I mean?
yeah, and that's why they like a lot of animals, especially horses that actually come from abuse situations. They'll put them and veterans together, or people and kind of with a PTSD type stuff, and they kind of learn from each other. And the veteran kind of learns that, oh, I've got to remain calm, and then and it just kind of like it is a it yeah it's a good effect. It's yeah,
Right.
it's kind of a domino in a positive way.
Let me ask you this: as being an
Yeah.
Army veteran and somebody who is familiar with firearms, do you carry it all on yourself, on your person?
Oh, yep, I do.
Where do you carry
Yep.
it, particularly? Like whereabouts on your body, or do you do it on your chair? Or how do you do it?
Right now I put it in my chair, just because I haven't really found a spot on my body that I could, comfortably wear it and, it not like bulge up or out, or, you know,
Right.
I'm
Right.
wheeling around and stuff. So,
Yeah, for me, I found it's a calf holster that I had modified to go right on my thigh. So it's like it's
uh-huh.
connected to me. It's not on the chair, and it's easily accessible. So if I ever need it, it's right there.
Yeah.
And I do training all the time with it, just to make sure if I do need it in a certain situation that I'm able to do it. And I can tell everybody, you know what I mean. If you're able to and you can handle it without injuring yourself, obviously, then I'm all for it. Go get a CPL and carry. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. I've got, let's see, which one do I have here? Yeah. Oh, it's
Oh, by the way,
my,
this is a live show, and I want to say thank you to everybody out there watching.
oh,
Kim Pola, Ben Insider, Raymond, all you guys, Albert, what's going on? If you guys have a question you would like me to ask, Sheri, go ahead and let me know. And if it's along the lines of what we're doing, we'll definitely ask her live.
okay. All right.
Let's see what we got here. Number 6 is any pain. What is your pain levels like?
My pain level depends. My pain level, of course, is more active at night when you're actually trying to get stuff. Usually, I would say my pain level is about a, I think a 4 now that I stopped all the meds and stuff that the VA had me on. And yeah, it's like at least a 4. But at night, when sometimes when that nerve pain hits, it's like a 20 out of 10. It's super intense. It's
Wow. Yeah, I can relate to that sometimes. I mean, I take gabapentin right now, but um, I don't know. I'm like 4 years into it, and I'm like almost kind of wanting to find something new. But there's not really a whole lot out there unless you get into narcotics, which I'm trying to stay away from. And
yeah,
all the doctors want to keep you off of, so it's like, you only got so many choices.
yeah, yeah, and it's just here lately and stuff, especially hearing about all the side effects of this and this and this. It's like I'm sure all the medication that the VA had me on is causing other side effects that then need medication for that, and then and like
Right. You take
it's
one
never.
pill, that you got to take another pill for that gives you side effects for this pill. Now another pill you got to
Yeah,
take, and next thing you know, you got half the pharmacy in your dang bag.
yeah.
Oh, you're splitting up. Can't hear you again.
Definitely.
Oh, your audio's going in and out for some reason.
Yeah.
Oh, there we go. I think I can hear you now. I don't know
Yeah.
why that does that. What are you using a Apple iPhone?
Okay.
You got it?
How about now?
Oh yeah, there you go. I can hear you now.
Okay.
Um, well, I'll get into my next one. My next question here. What helped you the most after your injury?
What helps me the most? Um, I would say, hmm, it, it is nice to have help come out. Like the VA pays for the CNA to come out Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays for a few hours, and they until I can find that a contractor that can work with the VA to get all my ADA modifications, my home done. It's nice to help. When put dishes away and stuff that are higher that I can't. Have a little bit of problems reaching. It's not really very safe to use your grabber and lift glass items.
Right, right.
Right. But I'd say I I think not really the crazy cat lady. I definitely I stopped at 4 cats because I was fostering, but they actually helped me out quite a bit because when everybody else would be kind of uncomfortable and stuff where they wouldn't want to come around because they feel guilty excuses on why they we didn't want to bring up the but yeah, the cats, they provide unconditional love, and they're always there for you. And they don't care. You Having pets definitely
Right.
help me
Yeah,
out.
I would say pets are good too. Yep. I know how it is. I was just talking to my caregiver today about, what I mean, like having a dog, because we have a dog. We have two dogs and a cat or two or four. Uh, but yeah, it's something where it gives you your brain extra stimulant. You know what I mean? It's something else around that I think that dogs, like you said, they can sense it. They know that you're injured. And I've always found it funny
Oh
that like every time a new dog comes into the fold, or like if somebody brings a dog over, or I see a dog for the first time, the first thing the dog does is, even if it's mean or whatever, it'll come up to you and it'll stop. It'll get real low and it'll come up to you and it'll sniff you because it senses. I think it senses that you're hurt, you're injured. So it knows you're not
yeah,
a threat. It doesn't growl or bark at you like normal. I've had a couple dogs bark, but once they realize, they kind of calm down. And it's weird. It's weird how animals can sense that. You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah. And I volunteered in an animal, and I specifically like had me work in the cat room and stuff because for some reason I was able to just match people to cats just like nothing, just like that. And I there was events and stuff where they're like we adopted out, a lot of cats. They're like, we only wish we would have had the same success in the dog room and stuff, which I think everybody did great and stuff. Plus it's harder and it's easier to adopt out a cat because cats are like not as high maintenance.
Yeah, cats are
Uh,
more assholes. They want to do what they want to do. They don't give a crap what you
yeah,
want to do,
they're
you
more of
know?
like a roommate, where the dog is like a toddler. So it's like,
Right.
whether or not you want to have a new roommate or you want to have a toddler and stuff that, may require some of your attention. You know.
Yep, our friend Kim said, "What's up with the audio? Is it an iPhone?" Question mark. And I'm like, I don't know. Some people have problems like when they're doing it off their phone. Um,
Yeah.
I don't know what it is, but it's like I don't know if it's like the audio thing or if like it just gets caught up or something or
Let me see
what
if I.
goes on. But like sometimes it'll go in and out, which is it's not a problem. We'll work with you. You know what I mean? Like that's what we're here for. We're not in a big hurry or anything.
Okay. Is that any better?
Yeah, I think so.
I
Should be all right. I'll let you know if you
cell
start
phone.
breaking up again. I'll let you know.
Okay. Yeah, I took
Um,
the cell phone, so that might.
what's that? Say again.
I said I took the cell phone cover off, so that might help.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that might work. Next question I got for you is what is your hobbies? Did they change at all after your injury or do you still do the same hobbies? How's that work for you?
No, I actually, like I said, I was doing barrel racing and stuff. Heck, I helped train my daughter's barrel and pole and goat tying horse for junior high, college, and junior high, high school, and college rodeo. And but my back's just I've got back arthritis and stuff, and I just feel the grinding. So yeah, that's definitely not within um, the cards and stuff. But yeah, I've taken up gardening and seed saving. You heck you can get a tomato and stuff and just save the seeds and stuff that's kind of scored out. And heck, I just sometimes will just plant the seeds directly into the soil and not even worry about drying them, and they definitely grow. But I think especially nowadays with kind of being unsure and stuff with food prices and stuff, I think getting into gardening and stuff and seed saving is not a bad hobby to start getting into.
Right. Right. Awesome. Um, yeah, I would really want to get into gardening this year. I would like to do
Yeah,
something as far as like learning. And really, there's not much to learn. You put the seed in the soil, and you know what I mean. Take care of it till it grows up. I would think, but then I
yeah,
don't know much. I'm not a green thumb. You know what I mean. I'm sure people out there
yeah,
right now that have done planting are like, shaking their head, like, boy, you don't know nothing. Shut up. You don't know nothing about plants. But we're gonna try that this year. I think that's gonna be something I want to do. I'd like to get some raised planters that I can just wheel up to, and kind of work
yeah,
on.
yeah,
I think
yeah.
that
I've
would be
got the
cool.
raised garden beds and stuff. It's just frustrating and stuff trying to with that VA housing grant and stuff. I've got a lot of money that's just sitting there waiting for a contractor to be able to do my back patio and stuff where I can actually wheel out there instead to be able to get out to my backyard where my garden my raised garden beds are and stuff. I've got to pretty much go outside and go around the house and then go wheel in the grass. So,
Right. And everybody else
but
listening, all the audio
but
people and everybody else, you might hear my stuff go in and out. It's because I'm turning my dial from my microphone up and down because right now, in order to get your audio in, we have to run it through the PA system. So I have to turn it down so we don't hear echoes. It's really a pain in the butt. I'm going to figure out a way to take care of that eventually.
okay.
But today it should work fine. Um, so next to last question I got for you is what about travel? What do you like travel? You like traveling or no?
I get a little anxiety and stuff when traveling just because, if they mess up my wheelchair and I get somewhere, it's like, okay, so what do I do now? Like,
Right.
then I can see them trying to loan me one of those big old, the two-person big old wheelchairs, and you're like, well, here's a loan, you know.
Right.
Um, but they the last time because I still fly into the Denver VA because um, they're the main the main spinal cord thing. So I actually flew there here recently to do my yearly spinal cord evaluation. And Delta Airlines, they've actually kind of stepped up their procedures on how they handle stuff. I don't know if it's just wheelchairs or wheelchairs and strollers, but they actually have you fill out a complete form and stuff on the, the type of, and if there's any special breaks or anything that they should be aware of. And, so they've actually, instead of just throw a wheelchair tag on it, they actually put an entire form on there with instructions on how to actually handle
Right.
it.
Right.
Not you want to
Yeah.
off.
That's the
So
big thing with me is, first off, I don't even like flying. So probably not going to fly. And I tell everybody, if I have to go see the world, or not even the world, I don't give a crap about the world. I'd rather see the rest of America. I'll get in my van and I'll drive through America myself and we'll figure it out. But because of strenuous things like your ramp working, coming in and out when you need it to, I have a ramp that's mechanical that goes in and out of the floor. It's already broken down like 3 times. I don't really trust it. You know what I mean? I'm like, well, I don't know.
Yeah.
All I got to do is get out of state, and then all of a sudden that ramp breaks. Now what do I do? Luckily, we figured out a way to get it in and out manually, but I mean, at this point, it's like, well.
And then with mine, you have to find, if you need it manually, because I just barely got my ramp fixed. Like, I've got that 2023 Chevy Traverse with the vulnerability, and the ramp didn't work right from the get-go, which the VA is like, well, we're not paying our part until the ramp works. They finally got it fixed and stuff. But yeah, and then finding a parking spot that not only you can get in on the passenger side with the ramp, but then you can also, at least wheel your wheelchair on the driver's side, because the driver's side is in where the back, you have to open the rear driver's side door to then do the manual electrical override for the ramp.
Right.
So, anxiety and stuff, just trying to find, parking spots and not only, that, but, if you have like an accident or something, if your catheter or something twists or, something, you're kind of just stuck, you can't just like, oh crap, stand up and, run to the bathroom, and you're kind of just there. So yeah, that's kind of a fear of mine is using, going to the bathroom accidentally on a plane or something.
Yeah, I've always had nightmares of like having to go to the bathroom and then there nowhere being like a catheter or anything around that I can use, and just being stuck and then being like, what do I do now? You know what I mean? Like, just push it all and let it come out, I guess. Like, what am I supposed to do? But that's something you got to think about every day. You know what I mean? And there's only there's only one way to get over it, and that's just to kind of live life. You can't let it hold you back. You know what I mean? You got to kind of push forward. Uh-oh. Did we lose you? Are you there? Uh-oh. Let's see. Oh. Looks like it's frozen. Oh, wait. It's moving. Oh, there you are.
All right.
You hear me?
Yep, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Oh, there we go. All right, cool. I thought we lost you. Well, before I do lose you, let's get to the last question of the day. What would be the best piece of advice that you could give somebody who's brand newly injured?
Don't give up. Like, you'll see the people that, kind of want to, when they first wake up and realize that they're paralyzed or whatnot, they kind of don't really want to do anything, and they just kind of want to curl up in a ball and just, not really want to do anything. And I just, when I woke, it's like, okay, what's the next step? What do we got to do? Just keep pushing forward. You're never going to get anywhere. You're going to be, if you spend the next, month or so curled up in a bed, that's another month that you could have spent, getting it, improving, especially where the first year after any kind of spinal cord injury, if you've got any kind of, you know, if there's any chance of you regaining any kind of mobility, you've got to get it done right then and there, and there shouldn't be any rest time. I mean, maybe if there's swelling or something, yeah, that's one thing. But if doctors have cleared you to start, just get going, and you're gonna have rough days and stuff, and we want to cry, throw stuff, um, just get it out. Go somewhere in private, get it out, then put your big back on and then go back out.
Yeah, I think all of us, and I've mentioned this a few times before in a couple other episodes, but I think all of us that wake up in that hospital bed and we look around and we take into what really has just happened to us, we all go through a mourning period. We have to let go of our old lives because that's no longer attainable. You know what I mean? We have to now look forward to what we can do and how we're going to do it. You know, and that's that right there is a crucial moment in being paralyzed. That's just one of the things you have to do. I always say you have two roads you can choose. You got the high road or the low road. The low road, you're going to cry yourself, you know, to sleep every day and sit in your bed, not do anything. And the high road, you're going to do something about it. You know, you can't just sit in the bed every day. Like my PTs and OTs always told me, you got to get up, you got to go out, you got to move, you got to, you know, because you're going to be in pain. If you lay in there all day sulking, it's just going to hurt more. You know what I mean? You got to get up, you got to move around, you got to that gung-ho spirit. I mean, you know about that, being a veteran yourself. It seems like you, as far as your ranking, you had that. You were good to go. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yep.
So, but yeah, that's good answers. I appreciate it. I don't really have anything else. We have, we got one more for you before we leave you. What type of wheelchair do you got, and do you have a name for it?
You know, wheelchair. It is. You know what? I'm kind of embarrassed. I don't even know.
She's like, I don't even know what this is.
I know the cushion is a J Fusion, but they're completely It doesn't fit right. It's the VA and stuff. So they're actually got me a new wheelchair because it was involved in an accident where my first I had a 2021 Chevy Traverse, and I was driving across this bridge. This huge gust of wind from this canyon picked up my vehicle because of that ramp that's underneath the vehicle. Picked up my vehicle, spun it around, threw it on the other side, and through the guardrails, and I came like literally less than 10 feet from possibly from falling down that cliff.
Oh gosh.
So that was a scary moment and stuff, but so I'm sorry, where were we going with that?
Well, that's my homework assignment for you is look at that wheelchair and think of what your name would be for it. And then maybe we'll check back with you. I tell everybody that's done a Wheelchair Wednesday that some of these days we might check back with you. We might do I was thinking like a Throwback Thursday episode where we come back and we talk to you about how you're doing. And we don't know yet. I haven't done one yet, but I definitely do plan on doing more this year. So maybe that'll be something we start up this year. But
you know, with wheelchairs and stuff, like, you know, with it being involved in that accident, they've got to replace it for free. And they technically, because it was service connected, they actually owe me two wheelchairs, two custom wheelchairs. Right. And so I'm still trying to figure out like the second type of wheelchair that I want. You know, it's like you don't really know until you've actually, you know, kind of lived in one for a little bit. So, but yeah, I haven't. I think maybe once I get one that I like and that kind of works with me a little bit better, I think I might name it, and I might actually remember the name of it.
Well, you know, like the old Alice in Chains song said, Army Green was no safe bet. But I think that'd be cool for a nice paint job for a wheelchair, some Army Green. I've always been fond of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
we take their vehicles and stuff, and I don't know. I just never have, but yeah, you know, it is an extension of your body and stuff.
Oh, exactly. Well, I want to give you another round of applause, Sheri, for coming live with us on this beautiful Wednesday afternoon. Happy Valentine's Day to all you watchers out there and listeners. If you listening or watching or somebody you know would like to be a part of Wheelchair Wednesday, just send me a message. Comment on this video. All kinds of ways to get a hold of me. Wheelchair Rick. Google me. I'm out there. Look for this logo. Right there. All right. Well, Sheri, I appreciate it. Stick with me here for a second. We're going to say goodbye to everybody else. And then that's it. Appreciate it. Thanks for watching. Tune in next time for the next Wheelchair Wednesday. See you.